Hello Ride On people, you join me on my deck on the last day of the year 2020, but it is a new year for you guys now, so happy new year to you all. And today's video is about the BMW R1250GS/GSA, or more specifically 5 reasons why it might not be the right bike for you. Firstly, I want to say that I've been on record many times saying that the GS/GSA is the best all-rounder ever made, and if you're tall and can handle the weight, then you know, there's no easier bike in the world to live with. So it's a good bike, and I put my money where my mouth is. I bought 2 GSs and 2 GSAs, and currently have a 2019 GSA, which I've just warmed through along with my Street Fighter V4S, because I haven't run them for a couple of weeks and just want to get rid of any condensation in the exhaust, etc. It's beautiful. It's 60 degrees here, blue sky, sunshine, typical of Georgia, but we have had some cold and frosty mornings, so thought it would be a good idea just to warm them through. Anyway, today's video is all about why the GS/GSA just might not be for you. Okay, the first reason is it's that pesky weight, isn't it? It's a big old girl, there's no denying that. And I think once you fill up its 8-gallon tank and you add the de Rigger Touratech heavy metal BMW panniers to it, you're looking at around about 625 pounds, which I think is about 285 kilo. And if you add a heavy rider and you know, not so light pillion, you could well be looking at 1,000 pounds on that bike, and that's a lot of weight by anybody's standards. So weight could be one reason why the GS/GSA is not for you. Okay, the next reason, there's no getting away from it, it's height. It's a tall bike, there's no doubt about that, and it's even taller in GSA guys, so you know, there's no real way around that, or there is, but you know, A, there's costs involved, and B, there's compromises involved. So you could get the lower suspension model of, say, the GSA, and the lower seat height, but you know, you're into compromising your ground clearance if you ride it in a sportly fashion, and you're also compromising quality to comfort to some extent, your ride quality, because there's not so much movement in the shock. There can't be, it's shorter, simple as that. And also, if there's not as much padding in the seat, then you're just not as comfortable. So if you're on tippy toes and you're stretching a bit on an already heavy bike, we've mentioned that elephant in the room already, then height could be a reason why the GS/GSA is not for you, and particularly if you're looking at the GSA and you're not 6 feet tall. Okay, next up is image. We all like to think that when we ride our big roughy tufty adventure bikes, we're all into that utilitarian, almost military style function over form, but ultimately we still like it to look nice, don't we? And even though we say we don't care what our friends think, we kind of do, don't we? So, you know, does it have an image problem? Well, certainly everyone's got one, and if you like exclusivity, it ain't for you. And it also has, to some people, that connotation of the old man's bike. It's the old pipe and slippers type image. And, you know, I don't know, I thought that had died out maybe in the 80s, 90s, but I know some of my friends who ride sportier bikes still think it's a bit of a kind of a tractor, would be the word that they use. And whilst I don't necessarily agree with that, I think the 135 horsepower engine with nearly 100 torques at very accessible revs and a fairly quick spinning opposed twin negate that view. It is only a point of view by people, and I would say that image wise could be a problem for some people. Now, you know, if you were designing a clean sheet engine from scratch, you'd never design an opposed twin, or a flat six like you would in 911. BMW and Porsche have made that work purely because of the heritage and the feel and being a little bit different, and maybe at the time when it was designed it was appropriate. So way back in excuse the background noise, way back in 1923 when Fritz actually designed the bike, maybe that was seen as a really good design decision. No liquid cooling, so cylinders out in the breeze, and some engineers with experience of opposed twins, and contrary to popular belief, it wasn't designed as a flat twin just because that used to be the kind of style of engine used in aircraft at the time, and in fact the BMW roundel isn't even a propeller, which is another common misconception or urban myth, if you like. It's more associated with the design and the colours of the town at the time. But anyway, I digress. If you had a clean sheet, you probably would build a money no object, a V4. For simplicity in manufacturing and top end power, you'd build an inline 4. If you wanted some real character, you'd probably build a twin, either a parallel or for compactness, or for character, an L twin like the older Ducatis now. So I don't know, image, is it an issue for you, or are you your own man? You make up your mind, but image may be one reason why the GSA is not for you. Okay, so what's next? Well, it's cost, isn't it? There's no getting around it. They are expensive bikes for sure, and really the MSRP is misleading. It's very much like German cars, really. The base MSRP is always very attractive and affordable and entices you in, but the reality is the things that you really want cost money in terms of the accessories and the packages available, and they are kind of essential really in terms of residual values. You ain't going to sell your vehicle without all the packages and all the toys on them, and certainly people that have got 25-30 grand to throw at a bike, they want all those nice toys, they want all those nice accessories, believe me, and they want the tin boxes. They don't want plastic panniers. They want nice roughy tufty metal cases, and all of that stuff just costs money, whether you want the heated grips and cruise control and the hill control and the electronic suspension and the big boxes. You're looking at maybe $27,000 for instance out the door, and there's no getting away from the fact that that's up there with kind of Honda DCT Goldwing money. And if you're up there, basically you can afford any bike on the road pretty much. And so if you can afford any bike on the road, is the GSA for you? Food for thought. Finally, the other reason why the GSA/GS may not be for you is basically its competition. Now, we could argue what its competition is. We could say it's things like the V-Strom 1000 or the revised Versys 1000, but I don't really think they are proper competition for the GS/GSA. I think we're looking at heavyweight touring bikes in essence, and specifically, let's run through them. I think if you're a kind of dirt guy, you grew up on dirt bikes and you like riding fire roads and forest trails and dry simple off-road sections, then you're going to want a KTM. You're going to be an orange man for sure. So the 1190 Adventure is probably the bike for you, maybe in the R spec. If you're going around the world, say you are primarily taking paved roads, you're taking a safe route, and you just want something that's going to get you there with the least maintenance and hassle and least breakdowns, you're probably going to take the Yamaha Super Tenere. It's a great parallel twin. It's by today's standards a bit low on tech, so less to go wrong, but in terms of reliability, solid. And you've got, like the BMW, you've got the shaft drive, And I think if I was going around the world tomorrow and wanted to make sure I got there, I'd probably take the Yamaha. So what else? Well, of course, this year we've got Harley Davidson releasing the Pan America, and I think you know, there are things I like about that bike and things I don't. I love that BMW are at long last joining in with the adventure crowd, and I think from three sides in black it doesn't look too bad. I think, like a lot of people, the front end is a bit shocking, could be improved, is different, and then there's hideous, and you know, it's in the eye of the beholder, shall we say. And also they've gone for chain drive, and I think that's a mistake. I think if you want to eat into the GSA's pie, you need a shaft drive, particularly on a big heavy bike like that. But anyway, I digress. I think if you're a Harley man, there's only one bike for you. You're going to buy the Pan America, and you're probably going to be quite happy with that, because you've got your relationship with your dealer, and you're used to 45-degree, you know, twins from Harley, and you know, who knows, it may be a great bike. We'll see when that comes out. But really, if you're a Harley man, you ride a Harley at the moment, you might want to buy a Pan America, and then at the very least, if you don't like it, you can trade it in for a classic American V-twin. Okay, what else then? Well, we mentioned the Harley, we mentioned the KTM, we mentioned the Yamaha. I would say the other obvious thing is the Multistrada. And for 2021, Ducati have thrown everything at it. It's got much lower maintenance costs because it's a 9K service, and an unheard of 36K service for the valves, because they've moved away from Desmotronic valve actuation to traditional springs, but they put the tech in so that they're only checking every 36,000 miles. And that bike has everything. I mean, when I say everything, I mean heated seats, heated grips, you know, it's got a TFT screen with connectivity for the app for the navigation. It's got full electronic suspension, it's got proper Stylema brakes, so you're not going to have the haze debacle that BMW is going through at the moment. And it's also got the key USP for 2021, and that is the active radar cruise control and blind spot monitoring. And of course, we know from initial reports, and of course being a Ducati, it's going to be lighter than the GSA. It's going to have better ride quality with that Skyhook electronic suspension. It's going to stop that slightly better because it's a little bit lighter, and it's got proper Stylema brakes rather than sort of M50s or whatever, or Hayes calipers. And it's going to handle that a little bit better as well, because it's got that reverse spinning crank of the V4, helping inertia turning, and the wheelbase is a little bit shorter, with a similar feel from the 19-inch new front wheel, and that's kind of ignoring all the great stuff like the beautiful daytime running lights and the way in which the bike looks, and the fact that V4 puts out 170 horsepower, fairly similar torque figures, and will spin up that much quicker without being super revvy like the Street Fighter or Panigale. So what I'm saying here is, basically, if you like the idea of a tall rounder adventure bike, and you're obviously looking at the GS, because why wouldn't you? It's the class leader in terms of sales, but you still have a bit of an issue with its image, or you just want to ensure that when you get to the mountains you're going to have some fun, right? Because you want the best handling and best stopping and best turning adventure bike, and you're going to want the 2021 Ducati Multistrada V4S or full package, because it's very likely to be motorcycle of the year, and it's a really good option. But moving back to price, it's also going to cost you a similar price to a fully loaded GSA. So again, food for thought, depending on where you live, what your needs are, and what dealers you're into. So as I said before, I've put my money where my mouth is. I've bought 4 GSAs, and I've owned, I think it's 9 or 10, I think it's 10 now, BMWs, and I don't know, They work. They do exactly what it said on the tin, but perhaps less exciting than a lot of other bikes. And it really depends whether you want, you know, a reliable commuter to drive every day, in which case you might take something like the Tenere, or whether at weekends you really want to get out and ride some gravelly roads and explore a bit, in which case you might take the KTM, for instance. Or you're a Harley man through and through, well, now you're going to have an option, and a good option probably, for 2021. Or you know that you want to tread on the kind of more fun and sexy and better handling side of adventures, and you're going to be interested in Ducati. If you fall into any one of those groups, you know who you are, and I would say at the very least, as well as demoing a GS/GSA, go and ride those bikes as well, just to make your own mind up, not based on what I say or your friends say or YouTube videos, but based on your own seat of the pants. And if what I say has resonated with you and you agree with it after riding those bikes, then that's just affirmation. It's just icing on the cake for your own personal decisions. And I really don't think you can go too far wrong with this segment. It's the fastest growing segment in the world. It's where most manufacturers are piling money into, and they have very well developed bikes that sell in volume, and so any niggles or anything like that are quickly sorted with these machines, because they're far too important to the manufacturers not to be selling in volume. So anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you think might be the reasons why you wouldn't buy a GSA or stroke GS yourself personally, and why you might buy one of the other models, or what you would buy with a blank check this coming riding year, whether that's a new adventure bike or something else. I'd be really interested to know. So thanks very much. Big shout out to my regulars who I haven't mentioned recently, like Joe Rocket, for instance, and a few other guys. Thanks for adding your comments as always. I really appreciate your time and efforts. And Gordo as well, shout out to you. I hope you and your families are all good, healthy, happy, and you all have a great 2021. Ride often, ride careful, ride on.
Hey you, if you want to become one of the Ride On people, don't forget to subscribe. Ride often, ride carefully, ride on.